So you mean the story of how I acquired my cooking skills that I have today? Okay, I came to TCU as a freshman 3 years ago, and all these freshman students and sophomore students at TCU had to live in a dorm as part of a residential requirements. So I had to live in a dorm as well, and I had to pay around $2,300 as far as I remember at that time for the room only, and it was for one semester. And I had to live in a dorm for both semesters, the fall semester and the spring semester. And apart from the room cost that I had to pay, $2,300 I just mentioned before, I had to pay additional fee for the meals, and it was called a meals plan by the school. I'm not sure if at the school's called a meal plan, but I had to pay $1,200 for one semester for a meal plan, and that $1,200 was not the buffet type of cost that I had to pay. It was not all you can eat. It was kind of a debit card that was given to me, and then I deducted, the amount of money every time I paid at the cafeteria. And for me, it was pretty expensive. Even for one semester. After one semester, I used up all the money that I had in the meal plan account. And I had to deposit one more $100 into the account. So I decided I had to learn how to cook, because eating in a cafeteria was extremely expensive. I couldn't stand that. So I called my sister. Hey sister, can you teach me how to cook the most basic food? Because the food here is so expensive, I couldn't afford it anymore. So I asked my teacher, and she did teach me how to cook. I used the kitchen in a dorm, and I didn't have any cooking utensils there. The kitchen had the cooking utensils though. I didn't have it, so I used the cooking utensils in the kitchen, and I asked my teacher to teach me cook the most basic food, and it was my first attempt at cooking wasn't really successful. The first food that I cooked ever was rice, and it was I didn't have the electronic rice cooker, and neither did the kitchen in a dorm. So I had to cook rice manually, and by manually I meant cooking rice with the normal pot, the non-electronic pot, and put it on top of the stove and stir fry it until it gets done. And I asked my sister to teach me how to cook that rice, but she taught me pretty carefully. She told me to stir fry it, and I did it. She asked me to stir fry it frequently to prevent getting burned from the bottom of the pot, and I did it. But the bottom of the pot was burned pretty hard. I couldn't eat that really well, but I could eat the top part. It was really memorable experience for me, and that began my cooking skills acquisition. After that, I asked my sister to keep on teaching me some other types of food, and that included the vegetable soups, the salty pork and fish that was included in a daily Vietnamese meal, such as lunches and dinners. And I could cook that, well enough for me to eat. But I couldn't say that was perfect that time. I couldn't say it was perfect that time. But after 6 months, I moved out of the dorm. I mean, after my freshman year, I moved out of a dorm. I asked, Vietnamese lady in the cafeteria to help me to sign the guardian contract when we move out of a dorm. And she agreed to help me, and I moved out of the dorm to live in an apartment with 3 other roommates. I developed my cooking skills even better when I moved out of the dorm, because I had to cook frequently. We had to take turn in cooking, when we lived in the apartment as part of the apartment requirements. And my cooking skills developed even better. My sister started to teach me more complicated type of food, such as the Vietnamese beef noodles that most people here know about, as well as some other type of vermicelli noodles, soups, and some other type of hot pot, more complicated foods, etc. And I myself learned how to cook other cultural cuisines as well, such as the Italian spaghetti and the Mexican burritos and tacos, etc. But those were just basic. But I could cook those food. My sister wasn't really interested in, so she couldn't teach me how to cook those. But I learned how to cook myself, and I also learned to cook the desserts. Desserts such as maybe cakes and fruits. Fruit salads, etc. And I used to eat Vietnamese food, so I eat the Vietnamese food most of the time, but I also eat other type of cuisines as well. So that was how I developed my cooking skills.